UNC condemns Senator Anthony Viera as a disgrace to the Parliament and the President's bench. An editorial by Dr. Kirk Mayhew, Public Relations Officer, United National Congress. The United National Congress, UNC, condemns Senator Anthony Viera as a disgrace to the Parliament and the President's bench. His childish behavior and shameless bias has done irreparable damage to the credibility of the Senate. In Monday's debate in the Senate on the Prime Minister's Pensions Amendment Bill 2025, Senator Viera did not merely express disagreement with the bill, which is his right. He claimed that its passage would undermine the rule of law, undermine parliamentary integrity, and should not be contemplated by any government with respect for the rule of law. He further stated that it would set a bad precedent for which all current senators would be responsible. Now that the bill has passed, given that his arguments were not sufficiently cogent, compelling, and persuasive to convince his colleagues, is Senator Viera now accusing the Parliament of undermining the rule of law and parliamentary integrity? Is he claiming that the government has no respect for the rule of law? These are outrageous and reckless statements that cheapen the gravity of our democracy and insult the Parliament. As part of his contribution on Monday, Viera quoted Senator Saddam Hussein from a Trinidad and Tobago Express story, suggesting that the government admitted its action was personal and vindictive. This was crucial to his criticism of the bill. However, Senator Anil Roberts indicated that the claim was utterly false, causing Viera to withdraw. Remarkably, Viera indicated that he had not even read the Express article in question. Senator Viera's arguments wandered into the arcane territory of ancient Rome in 18 BC and medieval England to bolster his argument that even if a law may be unjust, it must be obeyed. According to him, even if Stuart Young gained $1 million yearly pension through a loophole, that legitimate expectation must be honored, and no amount of moral disagreement can undo it. This is not legal wisdom. It is tone-deaf elitism and eat-a-food-ism. In the Caribbean, our tradition has always been to challenge injustice, not slavishly obey unjust laws. Given our history of slavery, indenture, colonialism, and even independence, we remind Senator Viera that there is such a thing as a higher moral law, that it does matter, and that many of our nation's proudest moments came from opposing systemic legal injustice. Time and again, Senator Viera has shown himself not to be an independent check on government, but rather a bitter and hostile voice against the UNC. When the PNM was in government, he was strongly pro-government. His record spoke for itself. In the 12th Parliament, he voted with the government in 15 of the 16 divisions taken. Now that the UNC is in government, he has predictably shifted to opposition. So far, in the short life of the 13th Parliament, Senator Viera failed to support the Prime Minister's Pension Amendment Bill, stood with the opposition PNM 3 times in the committee stage of the Children's Life Fund Amendment Bill, and voted against the repeal of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority. This isn't principled independence, this is a pattern. Even more than his voting record, Senator Viera has been openly antagonistic toward the UNC in public. On the day of the debate, he stated to the media, "If the government wants support from the independent bench, that's easy. Just give us cogent, compelling, and persuasive arguments. Somehow, I think that might work better than trying to demean and belittle us, or via veiled threats and attempts at intimidation." This is false and libelous, as the government never issued threats or attempted intimidation, veiled or open. Senator Viera must withdraw these false allegations. Furthermore, his insult that the government has not provided convincing arguments flies in the face of public opinion and election results. Instead, it reveals Viera's long-standing open criticism of the UNC, whether in government or opposition. Let us not forget Senator Viera's frivolous motion of censure filed against the UNC's then opposition senators in October 2021, based on no standing order, no law, and no parliamentary merit. Both then-opposition Chief Whip David Lee and Senator David Nakid issued statements denouncing Senator Viera's public attacks against UNC senators in the media. In the debate itself, Senator Viera scandalously referred to WhatsApp messages he allegedly received from Court of Appeal judges and senior law practitioners, criticizing then-Senator Jayanti Lakshmidil's alleged rudeness and the UNC senators as a whole. Viera's reckless and irresponsible claim in the Senate cast doubt on the impartiality of the Court of Appeal itself, where Senator Lakshmidil represented clients. The Honorable Kamla Persad Bisesar, South Carolina, was forced to write to the Chief Justice about this egregious breach. Despite all of this being quite clearly in the public record, President Christine Kangaloo chose to reappoint Viera as one of her 9 presidential senators. And here lies a fundamental problem. President Kangaloo is the most politically aligned president in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Her deep ties to the PNM are undeniable. As a former MP, minister, senator, public proponent of spreading the gospel of the PNM, and part of the PNM's high-ranking Kangaloo Garcia clan, we are pleased that on this occasion the President's senators displayed true independence as individual legislators, with some supporting the bill and others opposing it, rather than acting as a quasi-collective, as has been the case so much in the past. The Senate is supposed to be a chamber of sober reflection, untainted by reckless distortion, personal vendettas, or hidden partisanship. Yet Senator Viera has used it repeatedly to fight the UNC and protect PNM privilege, in addition to venting in the media. The UNC therefore publicly registers its strongest objection to Senator Viera's clear bias, conflict of interest, including receiving briefs under the former PNM government, and consistent hostility to the UNC. We call on all right-thinking citizens, civic groups, and media houses to recognize Senator Viera's conduct for what it is: a dangerous erosion of the credibility of our democratic institutions and a betrayal of the public trust placed in the independence of the President's bench in the Senate.